Yeah, I've been driving through rustic New Jersey, looking at homes built in the 1630s, thinking, how incredible was it when they finally got to feel the advent of power rankings? This is Locked On Big 12 and a little bit of Locked On Baylor.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to a Locked On Big 12, Locked On Baylor crossover. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. That's Cameron Stewart, the saddest boy alive from Locked On Baylor. Thank you for making our shows your first listen every single day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, #1 sports podcast network in the world. We will open up with our power rankings. Then Utah saved the Big 12 this weekend. BYU fans turn away, look away. And Colorado, Oklahoma State, Baylor. Who would you rather be, and why is it none of them? Those are the saddest boys alive.
Sad boy club.
If you hit subscribe, we get to keep our jobs. Look, I think power rankings, guns up. But by the way, guns up. I am at this house in New Jersey, and I went skeet shooting today. I can't hear anything. There were no.
I didn't know they did that in New Jersey.
Yeah, I didn't. There's like a rural part of the state that is unreached by modern technology, which is awesome. Every home is built in the 1630s, and you drive around, you're like, this is cool, man. This is really cool. Skeet shooting, and I'm thinking, man, guns up. That's all I can think the entire time. Jacob Rodriguez should win the Heisman. Texas Tech #1 in the power rankings. BYU sits at #2. Utah's at 3. Then the Mariana Trench. I'm going to bring that back from last week. The biggest gap possible. Cam, I had some Arizona State fans. They were like, hey, why is there a gap between #1, 2, and 3, and then Arizona State at 4? And Arizona fans were like, dog, we took the #2 team in your rankings to overtime. Why is there a massive gap? I just think those 3 teams are playing at a different level of football than everybody else, and that feels kind of objective at this point in the season.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, too, that I think it's just popping up more and more in college football, like the more analytical we get with this, is there is a preference on winning games. Mm-hmm. And I'm starting to notice that around. See,
it's weird that Baylor has not subscribed to that for the last 4 seasons. Actually, that strategy at least
playing the long game. At some point, it's not going to matter. Just keep bringing Dave back. Year 7, year 8, year 9. But I think that's a key part of this. Arizona, look, I know they're a good team. I've actually been singing the praises of Arizona the last couple of weeks. But taking a team to overtime does not mean that you should be ranked higher or even close a gap. I mean, those are the 3 teams that all have a legit shot at the college football playoff right now as we sit with 1 regular season week left. And Arizona and Arizona State are nowhere close to a playoff spot. That's how it breaks down.
Yeah. I think
that's enough, right? I think that's enough of an explanation.
Yeah, if I'm looking at what Utah did to Arizona State, that's why the gap is between 3 and 4. Utah was 32 points better than ASU, and you say, well, ASU didn't have its starting quarterback. Guess what? They still don't. They still. Jeff Sims is not a great quarterback, and Arizona State is certainly winning games, but I don't think that they are college football playoff caliber. They could still make the CFP somehow. It's feasible.
Yeah, Kansas State doesn't get to go up to 7 or to 6 just because they played Utah tight. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't matter.
And I like Arizona right now. I think Arizona's doing some very impressive things that I was shocked to see them do on the football field. I did not believe Arizona would be a formidable team in the Big 12 this season. They have now, they're staring down the barrel of, if they beat Arizona State on the road and capture a bowl win, they could be a 10-win team in year 2 under Brent Brennan. And
second time in 3 years with 2 different head coaches, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, R.I.P. Jed Fish. How's that going for him at Washington? Hopefully Washington beats Oregon this week. So kudos to Arizona, but they round out at 5th in the power rankings, and I think that's still fair. At the 6th spot, Cincinnati. This is total Sarah McLachlan, I will remember you, kind of a brutal fall apart for the Bearcats.
Yeah, we had it good, Cincinnati. We had it good for a couple of weeks. And then Arizona basically just took that mantle right off them last week by beating them on the road. And then it was because all we said for a month was man, Cincinnati. Look, it's Cincinnati out of nowhere. What a good story in the Big 12. They're actually legit. They're winning games. The loss to Utah, all right, bad, but Utah's really good. And then they lose to Arizona, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, Arizona, look at them winning games, looking good in the Big 12. So they kind of just took the crown right off them. It's a tough stretch here.
Do you see on the visual graphic the amount of W's in a row for them?
That's a lot. I can't count that high, but it is a lot.
7-1, and now they're 7-4. It kind of feels like what BYU did last year, where you get to the most important part of the schedule and life just sucks. Speaking of life sucking, we'll actually get to the teams where life really does suck for them. Number 7, Iowa State. Number 8, TCU. And Houston comes in at 9. Houston's another one of those that you just think, man, what could have been in year 2? You're overperforming for sure. But again, BYU 2024 syndrome of you overperformed, you built up the hope, you made everybody happy and excited, and then you just sucked.
Yeah, and with Houston, it becomes now like the poison that we get in college football at this time of year of, they shouldn't have lost TCU. Now let's look at their schedule. Now let's look at how good Houston actually was this whole time. Houston's a good football team. They aren't as good defensively as they were last year, but they're still solid, and they're a good football team and a program going in the right direction. But this is still an overachievement in year 2. How about that? It's a disappointing week, like for sure, but this is still an overachievement in year 2 after what we saw in year 1.
They're like the orphan that almost got adopted. This is the Annie spinoff where Mr. Drake decides last 4 minutes of the movie, he's like, damn, I really shouldn't adopt this kid. It just
the Angels and the outfield managers like, you know what? It's actually really not a great time. I've got a demanding job. I'm on the road a lot. We just happen to have every game in September at home for the movie, but I am going to travel. Like, this is just maybe next year. That's what it's kind of like.
Yeah. Any qualm? I think Iowa State, if they're healthy this season, they look a lot better. TCU, their fan base wants to fire the coach after winning a game on the road against the top 25 team. Kansas State is at 10 here. Kansas is at 11. I think, again, Iowa State's the one could have been.
Anything 10 on. It's just a crapshoot at this point.
Sad.
Yeah.
And some of them will have to make bowl games by rule, which is also tough.
It's like sending a guy to the MLB All-Star game.
Yeah.
210.
Yep. He's got to go.
537 OPS, but man, he's made some nice plays at third base. So you got to send him.
Gold Glove.
Screw Eric Chavez. Yeah.
That's where Iowa State, I think, is great. What could have been if they weren't hurt. TCU sucks without sucking? ? Houston at 9 stinks that they are the orphan that almost got adopted. Kansas State at 10. Again, that's kind of the story. That Utah game, they were the orphan who was almost adopted. Then the very end of the movie. Just kidding.
It's like real life hits you, Cinderella stories that are 1 in a million and they make movies about them. The other part's just real life. Yep. Kansas State couldn't hold on.
Tomorrow. I hate you. Tomorrow. That's where Kansas State sits right now. Kansas at 11. Also bad, very terrible performance against Iowa State this week. What could have been?
They've cost me so much money, man.
For sure.
This season. I believed in Kansas way too long, including this freaking week. I had them at 8.5. 8.5. And I was like, I'm feeling real good about that.
The best betting strategy in the Big 12 is just to put as much money as humanly possible on BYU, by the way.
Yes, they helped me climb back out of the Kansas hole. Yeah.
Any given week. So past that, we're looking at UCF at 12. I had a fan that was really upset that I called their game against Oklahoma State paint drying, but that's all I got. All I got.
Fair.
West Virginia at 13. They got the bye week, which was fun. I still think they'll be scrappy against Texas Tech. They'll lose by 10, 31-21. Baylor at 14, and they're the last team on the rankings. Colorado and Oklahoma State didn't deserve it. I know we're going to talk about the Bears at the end of the show quite a bit, but any quick interjection here on your team?
It's not fun.
Hall of very bad.
It's not fun. Like, as much as I'd love to be like, hey, they should be 11th. You know what? It's not worth my time to argue that they should be 11th because A, I don't really believe it. And B, what difference is it going to make?
Yep. Then I have ranked at 15, just one singular individual human being. He's the kid from the sportsmanship commercial who said, his name is Alex. He says, Coach, I touched it. And then the
Alex,
coach says, what? It's a championship game, Alex. Says the kid who needs Accutane. It is one of the worst commercials of all time.
I would love for a realistic view of that, where the ref is on a humongous ego trip and it's the championship game, and the guy tells him like, "Hey, it went out off me." He's like, "Screw you." Technical foul. That's what would happen in college athletics, I think.
Correct. That's just Kip Kissinger. Just giving him the business.
What did you say to me?
Yep.
What did you say?
Ref, you got that wrong. I touched it. Like, what? No chance. Those are your power rankings this week. Number 1, Texas Tech. Number 2, BYU. 3, Utah. Big old gap after that. 4, Arizona State. 5, Arizona. 6, Cincinnati. 7, Iowa State. 8, TCU. This is like the entire BYU schedule, by the way. They played like all of those teams at the top of the standings. 9, Houston. 10, Kansas State. 11, Kansas.
A lot of them.
12, UCF. 13, West Virginia. 14, the Baylor Bears. 15, Colorado. 16, Oklahoma State. Hall of Very Sad. Coming up, Utah saved the Big 12, whether you like it or not. You know what I do like is Wayfair. Every style, every home. Even homes like the beautiful one behind me with this. This is rustic, man. There's something going on here that I like. If you're listening on audio, you're going to want to see this. Holiday season's right around the corner. It means it's time to get your home ready. Whether you need more seating for guests, cozy new linens, or fun serveware for holiday hosting, Wayfair's Black Friday sale is basically the entire month of November. So the best part is you don't have to wait. Wayfair's Black Friday deals are happening right now, all month long, 70% off everything from sofas to spatulas. Don't miss out on early Black Friday deals. Head to wayfair.com. Yep, head to wayfair.com now to shop Wayfair's Black Friday sale for up to 70% off. WAYFAIR.com. Sale ends December 7th. That is Wayfair. Every style, every home with Wayfair. Hey. Doomsday scenario. Kansas State beats Utah by 10. You automatically lose a quality win for BYU. You lose a quality win for Texas Tech. They drop Utah out of the rankings altogether, and you say goodbye, Yellow Brick Road. And it doesn't matter that teams like Texas have lost to Florida. And it doesn't matter that Alabama lost to Florida State, who is putrid, who lost to NC State this week. None of that matters if Utah loses to Kansas State. And BYU fans, close your ears. Hide your eyes. Hide the children. It's not PC. It's not PG. Utah wins 51-47 in the stupidest game of all time. Now, look, some will argue, and this is a big part of the conversation, the officials stepped in and did this. They removed the pass interference call. A Utah player tackles a Kansas State player as he goes to field a punt. There was some real fishy jazz there at the end. Some big plays called back due to holding. So, yeah, it looked a little funky. And I don't want us to be confused with the SEC for, paying off the officials to make things go in the benefit of the conference. At the same time, this helped the Big 12 a lot.
Massively.
Yeah.
Massively. Yeah. That could have been just disaster zone if Utah loses to a bad Kansas State team. Like you say, it kind of puts every other team under the microscope a little bit. I think the committee is at the point where they're like, yeah, all right, Texas Tech's got to be in.
Yep.
But I don't think they see a second guarantee in the Big 12. And you look at the resume of Utah and BYU, and you're like, you can't say no to both these teams if they win out, which obviously becomes a bit of a buddy scenario because, BYU likely will have to play in the Big 12 championship game. And so they probably don't both win out. Right. But the way they look right now, you've got those two resumes are two college football playoff resumes. So yeah, this is a huge bonus for America's conference a little bit. And when you look back at Utah's schedule, we talked about this a lot last week. They were, after the Baylor win last week, they were plus 167 in point differential since the Tech game. And now they're just plus 171. Oh no, that's still so legit. If we're going to be able to, I know this is not something that's apples to apples to the committee, but like if we're going to give SEC teams the benefit of the doubt with some close losses or some close wins, like they inevitably will do with the Texas Longhorns, with Vanderbilt and Mississippi State and some of the other ones they've had, then we've got to extend it here. They've had one down game in a month and a half. I'm going to say one down game, and it's this one. And BYU, I'm not counting as a down game. They still lost, but one down game, and they didn't even lose it. I think that's a pretty good resume they're putting together right now.
Yeah, so watching this game, you're rooting for the Big 12. Mm-hmm. If you're somebody America's who wants conference. The Big 12, there is what I wish could have been the scenario is the Big 12 could have rigged this thing so that, next week, say BYU loses to UCF and Utah wins its game, and Texas Tech goes out and wins, and Arizona State beats Arizona, and in a three-way tie, BYU sits at 10-2. They move behind Utah because they just lost. Utah gets to move up a spot. They're in place for possibly an at-large bid, but oh wait, by tiebreaker, by rule, BYU goes to the Big 12 championship. At that point, BYU beats Texas Tech, and there's this really bad scenario for the rest of college football where BYU's a lock. Utah at 10-2 is still sitting there that 10 or 11 spot and could get in, and Texas Tech cannot be bumped out of the playoff. You're like, oh shoot, do we have to let all three in? There is this, like, that's a real thing that could happen to benefit the Big 12, and I think Brett Yormark. So, and if Arizona State loses this week, then that could happen. If BYU also loses, they'll go to the Big 12 title. Utah moves up a spot in the playoff rankings. A BYU win locks them in, and you have a chance with a loss from Oregon or Alabama to get three teams in. If I'm Brett Yormark, I'm probably finagling that a little bit. Did you see the Chris Kleiman press conference afterward?
No.
Oh man. He cried. He cried a lot.
Heard about it.
Yep. And it was like me, my senior night of prom. I got just waterworks, man.
Afterwards.
Yep. You just
once we made it home.
The quote he gave was, I'll read just a snippet of this. I did it on yesterday's show, but I want to get your reaction. So I know a lot of people thought we would come in here and lay down. And the kids have cashed it in because I've heard it enough. I've heard that I cashed it in. I've heard the players have cashed it in. And we need new leadership, new players, new coaches. I'm tired of it, he says. I got to be honest, he's crying. I've got to be honest with you.
I got to be honest with you.
I'm tired of it. And this is where it gets nuts. I've given my freaking ass life for this place for 7 years. I've given everything for 7 years. I feel like I deserve a little bit of respect. Big Hoss, you were up 10 with like a minute to go.
Yeah.
Lost the game, came to the podium crying, and said, I deserve respect. I'll give him 7 freaking years of my life to Manhattan, Kansas. You people know what that's like? You know what that's... BTK is a fan of this fan base. He's a fan of this team. Just not... Then the athletic director, Gene Taylor, walks over, gives him a hug. It's just bad, man.
By the way, if I had to put down money, like with the situation, the scenario you're laying out right now, and I had to put down money on what Big 12 football program this would happen at this year, it wouldn't have been Kansas State. It would not have been Kansas State.
Nope.
I thought I'd be covering it.
The athletic director, Gene Taylor, gives him a hug. And he's like, you're not going anywhere, brother. We won't have to see you in Valhalla. We got your back, bro. This is a scene out of Chad Powers. We cut this out of Chad Powers. And I just feel for that fan base because we really thought they were a Big 12 championship caliber team this year.
Are they not? Are you telling me that they're not? Is that what you're telling me right now?
Think about the amount of NFL talent they have pumped out the last couple of years and will continue to pump out, and they just cannot win college football games.
And it's really, this year has been, I was making the joke of like Dave Aranda. I mean, we knew Dave Aranda wasn't cut out for this like 3 years ago at this point, but like this has been a year for Kansas State where really it's this year that everyone's like, within like a 4-week span, they're like, Chris Kleiman's not cut out for this. We don't want Chris Kleiman anymore. Like, it was really that quickly. By, October, they were like, he's on the hot seat. I was like, really? Like, he's been so highly thought of in his time at Kansas State. But you look at how it's gone, it's not going in the right direction.
Nope.
but his freaking ass life, man.
He gave his freaking ass life for this place for 7 years. What? You think you're just
not even the best Manhattan?
Where is he? He's at like Guantanamo. What are we doing here? I've been here for 7 years.
I've subjected my family to living here.
Like, what a weird thing to say. Yeah. So
try getting anyone else.
Thank you, Utah, for saving the Big 12 this week. That was great. And yeah, I like the scenario of BYU losing this week, Utah winning. The Cougs go into the Big 12 championship. You know, a couple losses at the top from like Alabama and Oregon would help you out greatly. Or Oklahoma, if they lose, the Big 12 gets 3 in. Don't hate it. Don't hate it.
Hey, look, I've seen how good Auburn can be.
Yep.
I've seen Auburn play one game this year. They look like one of the best teams in the country to me. So maybe they can knock off Alabama this week.
And they looked great for the 3 quarters against Mercer. So
that was when I lost some money, by the way.
They say that Alabama
27.5.
They say Alabama's the Mercer of the SEC. I think Mercer's like 9-2, and Alabama's 9-2. So,
and I'm like, Auburn can't score 27 points. That's such an easy bet. That suckers me. Yeah, I lost.
Sorry, man. Coming up,
it happens. Oh.
Who is the worst? What's the worst program right now in the Big 12? And why is it the Baylor Bears? Locked on Big 12, locked on Baylor. Hey, today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Is it Mamacita? Donde está Santa Claus? Na Santa? Papacita? It's one of those. Whatever it is, Game Time is your place for college football tickets. College football is back. Yeah. College football is back, man. It's here. Finally. And I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's nothing like it. I pull up Game Time app. I use Game Time to get my tickets for all these games. A couple of taps. You can watch the Baylor Bears play for almost free. Like really, really close to free. See amazing deals. Talking about your favorite college football teams for as low as $25. The app makes it super simple. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. That's like 7 Baylor tickets. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time. Do it today. Game Time. Let's talk about the teams that suck this year.
Finally, my time.
You could argue, certainly, that Oklahoma State's in the worst position in the Big 12. You could argue that Colorado is the worst team in the worst position in the Big 12. As an alumni of the university, I would go out on a limb, a really, really weak limb. I would walk out as far as possible, as needed, on the smallest limb you've ever seen, to say the Baylor Bears are in as much turmoil as you could probably draw up for any Big 12 school athletic department in 2025, where the athletic director, the single most prominent figure at the top of college football, the head of the playoff committee, does some nefarious jazz on the outside and keep it in your pants, and ends up being relieved of his duties as the playoff committee chair, and is relieved of his duties as the athletic director. Embarrassing, no doubt. No two ways around it. Not good at all. Then your bad football coach gets to stay the bad football coach weeks after the student newspaper decides to do an open poll and say, hey, who thinks the coach should be fired? Most of the students say me. And the university immediately says this is one of the great national terrors of our time, and we will burn down the student newspaper. None of this looks good. No. And then the university's president says in the same sentence, not only are we going to keep Dave Aranda, but the standard here is a standard of excellence, and we will not settle, which is spoken in the midst of settling as hard as anyone has ever settled before.
Unbelievable settling.
Similar to the girl who I took to my senior year prom.
She was settling big time. Yeah.
Absolutely. She's pregnant. No, had a baby.
Good for her.
She's blocked me on everything.
Well, it happens, brother. Trust me.
And yet still, that ended relationship.
One of my prom dates is in a commercial with Saquon Barkley right now.
Fire and flames. I'm talking just bad ending to that relationship. Mm-hmm. It's not nearly as bad as this Baylor Bears situation.
Yeah. So you talked about in the first couple of teams you named, bad team, bad situation. This is not the worst team in the Big 12.
That may be also the worst part is you had arguably the best offense in the conference.
Right. I would say they're not that far away from being the worst team in the Big 12 right now. Yeah. They're in that conversation without their run of form the last 5 weeks. But they are in the worst situation. There's no other program, I think, in this conference that would be doing this. No other serious football program in America would be doing this, would be seeing 6 years of these results.
Maybe Florida State, possibly.
Yeah, the Norvell thing. Yeah. I was going to say he almost did get them to the playoff, but technically so did Dave 5 years ago. But yeah, sure. The closest team that would be doing it in the Big 12 is Colorado, but with the 2 seasons that Deion's had surrounded by a Heisman Trophy winner in the middle there. But it's crazy. It's in the name of stability and the players like them and all this crap. And it's just like everything we saw on Saturday does not add up to what President Livingstone said in her message to the Baylor family. It's just bad. It's not getting any better. And Drake, we mentioned how good they were coming into this season. Like, you look back on it, they were kind of loaded coming into this year, mainly on the offensive side of the ball. Yes, but loaded. Like, this was supposed to be the year that it comes together. You had so much coming back from a team that had so much momentum at the end of last season. And here they are. I mean, they're one game, but they have to win in the final week of the season just to make a bowl game. All of that production's leaving. Their schedule is going to be even more difficult next year. You avoided BYU and Texas Tech this year. That's not the case in 2026. They could be a very bad football team next year.
They should be. Yeah, you're going to replace pretty much the whole team offensively. Yeah. You have your NFL caliber, Heisman caliber quarterback. You've built a myriad of great wide receivers around him, including the best tight end in all of college football. Mm-hmm. You say that your team respects him, and that's why you kept him. And then immediately one of your top wide receivers posts on Instagram.
Can I get a team that doesn't respect him? Maybe that'll turn the fortunes. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You're about to make a good point.
No. That's maybe your best wide receiver posts on Instagram. I wish I would have made different decisions. I wish I had a time machine. He posted some really. It was the most 21-year-old football player Instagram story of all time. Nicole Arbach says that it's from the Linda email. Stability during the transition, student-athlete experience, retaining the roster, protecting a nationally ranked recruiting class. And by the way, Cam, every recruiting class is nationally ranked. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Yep. Baylor's is 29. Like, at what point do you stop saying nationally ranked recruiting class? Like at 30? Is it because usually that's like top 25 would make sense? Nope. Everybody's ranked technically in the nation.
Yes. And also, like, the other thing too is, remember Austin Novosad? Here's a blast from the past. Remember him?
Shoot. Yeah, man, I do.
Big time quarterback.
By the way,
recruit.
He came on Locked On Big 12 like 6 times. And each time I'd be like, I'm never leaving Baylor. Hasn't touched the field at Oregon. Continue.
By the way, he did go to Oregon. Last minute, right as Dave Aranda was expecting the facts, he goes, I'm actually going to Oregon. And you know what happened? You know what didn't happen in that time span? The coach didn't get fired. So it doesn't really matter whether your coach is fired or not. You are always playing with fire when it comes to 17-year-old kids committing to your university. Like, that's just how it is. And oh, by the way, before Dave Aranda, the last guy you hired before that, Matt Rule, came into a recruiting class that had one player. Yeah. One player. Mm-hmm. And he built it into a top 30 recruiting class by some metrics. And here Baylor sits with a top 30 recruiting class, and they're like, you know what? That's enough to keep the most mediocre football coach in America at 36-36. They're like, that's enough. We got to keep him. Lord knows we cannot let him go.
So the direct quote here that I really had some major problems with. By the way, Dave Aranda, I tweeted this myself. Dave Aranda bowl wins. One bowl win.
I remember that. I was there.
Coordinators that he's fired or demoted. 4. Can't even hire the assistants. Hopefully Jake Spavital has a great landing spot for next year. He deserves better.
I hope so. He's not on a grand run the last couple of weeks either, but much better than the way the defense has gone all year. But yeah.
Linda Livingston, the president, says, "Let me be clear. Baylor expects excellence, accountability, competitiveness at the highest level. We are not complacent, and we are not settling for mediocrity." In the exact same email in which she says, "By the way, we are being the definition of complacent and settling 100% for what is mediocre."
Yep. And I would love to hear some Big 12 fans' thoughts on this, but the excuse I really hate, which she kind of talks about without actually directly talking about it, is that there's so many head coach openings this year. Mm-hmm. How could Baylor possibly find a coach when there's so many good jobs open? That's what you pay an athletic director for.
Yeah, no, that's where the athletic director steps in.
And there's no coaching carousel ever where Baylor's going to be the number one job, the number one opening. It's literally never going to happen.
Also, a lot of really good coaches were fired that are available.
Yes, that's the flip side of this. And the last part about it is bro, LSU and Florida and Penn State are not going after the same coaches that Baylor is.
They don't even know what an Eric Morris is.
Baylor is not preparing an offer for Lane Kiffin right now. That's not happening. So I hate that excuse. It's oh man, now right, they're going to steal Eric Morris right out from under Baylor's nose.
Jimmy Sexton would screenshot the Waco, Texas caller ID and print it out above his desk when they called for Lane Kiffin. Click, delete. Don't even answer. What are they even calling me for?
254? What is that? Yeah, that's never going to. So I hate that excuse, man.
Hey, so this is one of Baylor's 7 athletic directors. Yep, interim. Correct. Yeah, we're calling about Lane Cliff. Click.
It would be way more dangerous if TCU and Tech were open a couple years ago at the same time as
honestly, but even if North Texas comes open this year, that's more of a threat to Baylor
than Florida is. Yeah,
Florida.
Yeah, it genuinely is.
Not a good situation for the Bears to be in. Certainly,
I'd say bad. Even I might go as far as bad.
This isn't nearly as bad as 2016.
Different way, but
and that was a nationally recognized sexual assault scandal.
Yeah. So when we're even comparing it to that, then it's not going well.
The athletic director, for nefarious reasons, had to be stepped down. Had to be wheeled down the state.
Reassigned to anywhere else.
Reassigned to jobless. Hell, man.
I hate it here.
Mac Rhodes is going to kill it at Liberty. Oh, I cannot wait for Mac Rhodes to be hired at Liberty.
Ian McCaw.
Yes. President Emeritus in ghost only Ken Starr. Epstein files and all Ken Starr.
Yeah, Ken Starr's been in the news. He must be alive.
God bless me. The same week this all happens, Ken Starr is just in the Epstein email. It's damn it. You can't even catch a break. What next? Rufus Burleson did some, questionable things on the side.
R.E.B. Baylor?
Oh, no.
Does it go this deep?
Should have named it Tryon University. If they had named it Tryon University, none of this would have happened. It'd be one of the coolest places in the world. That's such a good name.
The Tryon Tridents.
Correct. That's a guy who didn't own people.
I don't think so.
Yet he's the only founder of the university. They're like, nope, can't name it after him. Oh, the good guy, the moral one? No chance.
That's not going to sell papers.
Oh, this has been and always will be Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day.
Look at that guy. He doesn't even trade people.
Dealing with our hapless, sad rants. Crossover with Baylor and Dose Grande.